Okay, so I want to focus first of all on page 146, question 10. What we've got is this diagram. You see it better in your textbook. You've got a triangle sitting inside a rectangle. There are a couple of bits at the top here that are not part of the triangle. That's going to be important later on. So we have to calculate the shaded area, which is the area of the triangle. We have to then find the unshaded area. And then we're going to find the ratio of the shaded area to the unshaded. Now in the question it talks about rose coloured glass and plain glass and so on, but that's basically what we're doing. Okay, so as we go into it, what we're looking at first of all, the shaded area. The shaded area is the area of a triangle. Now as we know, the area of a triangle is length times breadth divided by 2. But we don't actually have the breadth of the triangle because the breadth of the triangle is the same as the breadth of the rectangle. So what we have to do here is we have to break down the triangle into a right angled triangle. So we're drawing a line down the middle here. Now that of course means that this distance here will be 75 centimetres. And this distance here, 195 centimetres, and we are trying to work out the length. Now, since we don't know the length, we're going to have to decide whether it's an addition or subtraction on using Pythagoras. And of course, because this is the hypotenuse, it's going to be a subtraction. So, L squared equals 195 squared, take away 75 squared. Now that turns out to be 32,400, and if we take the square root of 32,400, that gives us a length of 180 centimetres. So that being the case, we can then work out the area of the triangle. Now the area of the triangle is now going to be length times breadth divided by 2, which is going to be 180 multiplied by 150 divided by 2, I'll check my working for that, that gives us 13,500 square centimetres. Again, what we did was we broke the triangle down the middle to get the length. Once we know the length, we can use length times breadth divided by 2 to get our area. Okay, so that's part A done. Now part B, now should have mentioned at the start, the reason we're looking at that this week is because we want to get into questions which need a lot more thinking. There's a lot more words in these questions and we need to get into that. So what we should really be trying to do at each stage is to try and explain it to ourselves. What do we see? What is going on now? If I do a rough sketch of the diagram, very roughly, this is the shaded area and this is the unshaded area. Now, the shaded area is the triangle. Fair enough, but what shape is the unshaded? We don't know. So what we have to do is we have to say, well, actually, the unshaded area, and I'm going to get the spelling all wrong here. Unshaded area is the total area minus the shaded area. And that's all you have to be aware of. Now, there's a lot of questions we're going to be looking at this week where you have to think in terms of that. So you can always work out the area of something if you know the total area and you know one part of it. Then whatever's left is the thing you want to find. Now the total area is the area of a rectangle. So it's going to be length times breadth. So if we go back to this again, you've got your breadth now is going to be 180 centimetres. Now this is where you could fall into the trap. The breadth is not, or the length rather, is not 150, it's 160 because of those two 5s. So the total area is going to be 180 multiplied by 150. Now if we work that out, and again I'll check my working, That'll give us 15,300 square centimetres. No, it won't. That'll give me, that's the next answer, I beg your pardon. That'll give me 28,800 square centimetres. Okay, now that brings us to the unshaded area. Now the unshaded area is the total area, take away the shaded area, and the total area 28,800, take away 13,500, leaves us with that answer I gave you a minute ago, 15,300 square centimetres, right? So that's part B done. That's the area of the white bit. So the area of the inside bit is 13,500 and the area of the white bit is 15,300. But we have to do part C. Now part C is the shaded to unshaded. So that's going to be 13,500 to 15,300. Now you're looking at that thinking, where are we going to go from here? Well, obviously we can divide both of them by 100. So that would take us down to 135 and 153. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you can't work out what will divide into both of these, there are a couple of tricks you can use. Now, one of them is, if you add the digits together, if the digits add to 9, then it's divisible by 9. Right? The same way, if they both ended in 5 or 0, you would know they were divisible by 5, or if they were both even, you would know they were divisible by 2. So the digits add to 9. 1 and 3 and 5 is 9, 1 and 5 and 3 is 9. So we can divide both of them by 9. And if you do, you would get 15 to 17. Now that's difficult. The last bit is difficult. But maybe you get it, maybe you won't. But you certainly have no problems. Should have no problems getting to that point. Okay?